something. And good news is she cultivated it and took it to a very high level.
Yeah. Reverend, hang on one second. Reverend, sorry, we're standing here in the middle of the street. We're live, so thank you.
Okay, great.
So we're here in the middle of the street, standing in Newark, New Jersey, a community that Whitney left, but she never forgot. She always came home, and when her stardom started, she would come back to school here to be around regular kids, and she'd come back to church and even sing.
You know, about 2 miles from here, there was a place called the Peppermint Lounge, and Whitney, even at the peak of her fame, would dress up in baggy pants and put a hat on and a sweatshirt to come hear new talent right here in Newark, New Jersey. Yeah. So she never lost her touch. She never left her roots. That's why in East Orange, there's a school named after her. There are people around this community who benefited from her. And she was a global personality, but with a local touch.
Yeah. You know, and Don, even as she grappled with life's challenges, which are often unforeseen, her last song, Jesus Loves Me, takes on great meaning for her own sense of struggle and spirituality, in constant search of the unconditional love and all it means.
Yeah. What does this day mean to you? What does it mean to the family and to her fans around the world?
Well, I think that this is just a step along a long journey that the family must now recover from. This is a lot to lose, but the good news is there's an awful lot left, and the memories are so powerful, and the music will be with us forever. Man, I will always love you, the greatest, the Star-Spangled Banner, and it just keeps on rising. We have a lot to rejoice about.
Reverend?
Today's a celebration that will help them get through it, even if they never get over it.
Yeah. Thank you both. We appreciate you joining us live, and come back to join us during after the service. We'd love to have you here, and you be strong. Thank you so much. And as we're going to move out here a little bit and show you exactly what's going on, just back up a little bit. Look at the media horde around us. There are literally dozens and dozens of reporters and cameras. We'll move out here. So see how they're moving in here? Dozens and dozens of cameras. Let's go here so we can actually show them. Of people who are crowded around the Reverend Stories and Reverend Jackson, and right down this street that you see right in front of us. This is a street where the New Hope Church is, right over the side of those, over the top of those reporters and photographers right there. And if you bear to the right here, we'll show you. You see Newark in the background. You see where the platform where the media are, and then you see the Newark, New Jersey Police Department, their command center. And just to show you how this community is sort of really ravaged by crime, ravaged by the drugs in the 80s and 90s. If you can turn this way, there's an empty project right in the shadow of the church here. But this community where Whitney Houston grew up, she left Newark for East Orange when she was 4 years old. But this is where she grew up and started, but moved to East Orange, which was a neighborhood that was on the rise, and people there were a little bit more well off. But again, never forgetting here, staying at the church just over my shoulder here, her family staying at this church, the New Hope Baptist Church, where her mom became the choir director, and then she went on to the choir as well. And you know, that's how she started and developed her voice as a gospel singer, which many believe was why people felt her. And why there was so much emotion in her voice is because she came from the church. And Gary, talking to her vocal instructor, her voice coach, he said, very rarely, if he can ever remember, usually singers you either have a great tone to your voice, a great voice that just sounds well, or you have the very muscular voice where you can sing big. Usually you have one or the other. He said Whitney Houston had both, and that was an amazing combination. But let me show you more of the crowd here. If you can see. So let's walk through some of this stuff. These are the reporters. Look at all of them lined up here. We're still on live. Are we on? Can you still see us in the control room? They can still see us. We're good. We may run out of battery. If we do, you just take it back. But look at all the crowd here. Back over. If you go this way, turn to the right, you can see the balloons. That's where people will be arriving. And you see the mounted police officers there also.
I think we ran out of battery, just like Don was saying. But to finish up the thoughts that Don was making, they were talking about Nippy, how she got her nickname. Her dad thought she got in a little trouble like a cartoon character. But I should stress, after spending time in Newark and East Orange this week and talking to her friends and her principal, This is a girl who'd never gotten into any serious trouble whatsoever. She was actually quite shy and very modest and never bragged. She became a model, and she really didn't even tell anybody about it. Her friends were like shocked when they saw her picture in 17 magazine. And she was one of the most popular people in the school because her family home in East Orange, New Jersey, was the only home in the area that had a built-in swimming pool. So all summer long, it was the social center of East Orange. Her friends would come over. They would swim with Whitney Houston. And then one of her friends said, then we like to run around the neighborhood a little bit and have a little fun. But Whitney was too shy and quiet, and she stayed home. She stayed in the swimming pool in East Orange, New Jersey. More in a minute. Our special coverage does begin at 11 Eastern. The funeral service itself for Whitney Houston is scheduled to begin at 12 noon Eastern. Just a short time ago, we were talking with my colleague Don Lemon, who said there was a possibility that the battery and the camera might die while he was giving us a very interesting look at what was going on outside the church. Indeed, the battery did die, but they have a new battery, and that means we have a new Don Lemon with us. Don?
Yeah, I want to show you what's going on because I think the police are encouraging people to stay home, Whitney Houston's fans. So if you're at home watching this, then we want to show you what's going on. This is a place that you'll be able to watch it. And this community, let's show over here, this community says so much about who Whitney Houston is and was, someone who stayed grounded. You're looking at the pictures now. This is about as close as you're going to get to the church. It's about a block away, and you can see all of the balloons and flowers and candles that have been placed in front of the New Hope Baptist Church in Newark. And on the sign in front, you can't see it, but it has Whitney Houston, and then it says the Queen of Pop. Beyond that, you see command trucks for the Newark police. On the other side, a barrier. And then across the street, a parking lot to your right is where the people will be parking, and then also some of them walking through. About 1,500 people have been invited. As we move around here to the right, you can see that they have blocked off the streets. There are some mounted officers here, and then they've set up a barrier for the media on this side. And it's really media from all over the world here. I don't know if you get a sense of how many people are here. And, you know, I'm talking to the people at home, the people who would like to have come here. This is what you would see if you were coming through and walking here, and as far as you'd be able to get up to the barricades. If you're just even a fan of Whitney Houston, you probably have to, you know, make your way past some of the media. And then around to our right, and again, we're doing this because people have been discouraged to come out from the Newark Police Department. This is a little bit further down the street, where from the church, and then you see the police command center, and to the right, among all those satellite trucks, obviously, which are not usually here. It just shows you what this city that Whitney Houston came from has gone through with crime, especially with drugs, an abandoned housing project here. Right in front of, isn't it weird, the juxtaposition of this? Right in front of this abandoned housing project, you see the platform for national media here for the memorial service for Whitney Houston. And then just in front of them, to our left, more media, the parking lot here, an empty lot. And then, of course, the New Hope Baptist Church from this venue, from this level where we're looking at where Whitney Houston will be memorialized today by so many loving family members and also members of the music community, the most prominent members of the music community from all over the world, Gary.
Don, we're looking right now at another live picture that you may not be able to see. The hearse has just left the church. It arrived there about 15 minutes ago, and we see it right now going past the balloons and the flowers in front of the church. So we do expect, I imagine, most of the guests to start arriving probably any minute. Is that correct? They were supposed to arrive by 10 or 11 o'clock Eastern time?
Yeah, and we did see some guests arrive earlier, and I could see over my shoulder here the hearse, the gold hearse that's carrying Whitney Houston's body, and it is either going to stay parked in front until the services are over, or it'll go away and then come back. And I was explaining to our viewers earlier, some people were wondering, well, why the why you had the homegoing ceremony today, and then the funeral, the actual burial tomorrow. And in the African-American community, quite honestly, here in the United States, that's how we do it. Sometimes you go right to the funeral home, right to the burial, but for the most part, you wait a day, you take your time with it, and then you lay your loved ones to rest. And then you can see people are starting to arrive. Let's go over here just real quickly. People, when you ask me about guests starting to arrive, Gary, these are our guests who are starting to arrive here at the New Hope Church in the parking lot. So they're starting to arrive, and it's going to be about a 3.5 hour service, and we're going to carry it all for you live. And because the police are discouraging people not to come out, you can watch all of it here on CNN, Gary.
All right, Don, thank you. We do see traffic building up on the right side of the screen right there. Don Lemon, thank you very much. The special coverage on CNN begins at 11 o'clock Eastern Time, about 1 hour from now. The service scheduled to begin 12 noon Eastern Time, 2 hours from now. We'll be right back. Good morning, everybody. Right now, Whitney Houston's family and friends are arriving at a Newark, New Jersey church, getting ready to remember the singing legend. We've just learned who will perform at the funeral. We'll share that with you in just a moment. And we'll talk with Chili from the group TLC, other musical artists, and Whitney, that is her elementary school principal. We'll talk to him also. He's a man I met earlier this week. I look forward to talking to him live, and he will tell us about what the famous singer was really like. From the CNN Center in Atlanta, this is CNN Saturday Morning. I'm Gary Tuckman. Well, Aretha Franklin, Alicia Keys, and Stevie Wonder, just a few of the people who will sing at Whitney Houston's funeral today. We're 2 hours away from the expected start. So let's check in with our Jason Carroll, who is there in Newark, New Jersey right now. Jason, what else can you tell us about the program that will be taking place today?
Well, a friend of the family called me this morning as he was getting ready to head out to the funeral, and he gave me actually the entire rundown of what we can expect to hear and see when the funeral gets underway. That expected time, 12 noon. So let's start from the very beginning, just to let you know. First, it will start off with the New Hope Mass Choir and the New Jersey Mass Choir. Together, they will be singing "The Lord is My Shepherd." Following that will be Pastor Joe Carter. I spoke to him earlier this week. He will be reading a scripture. He told me, he said, look, we will be acknowledging the hurt. There will be a lot of tears, but we will also be celebrating the musical life that was Whitney Houston. You'll be hearing a little bit more about that. That will be followed by a solo by Donnie McClurkin, who will be singing "Stand." Then there will be remarks by filmmaker Tyler Perry, a friend of Whitney Houston and the Houston family. That will be followed by a solo by B.B. Winans singing "Home," followed by remarks by Bishop T.D. Jakes. And then we will hear from Kim Burrell. She has known Whitney Houston for some 13 years. They were very good friends. Kim Burrell, well known in the gospel community. She will be singing "I Believe in You and Me." And Gary, that was a song that was actually chosen by the Houston family. Then we will hear remarks from Kevin Costner, Bodyguard co-star. Many know the actor Kevin Costner. Then we will hear from the Queen of Soul herself. Aretha Franklin will be singing "The Greatest Love of All." Then we will hear remarks from Clive Davis. Obviously, a lot of folks know that name very well in the music industry. He was a mentor for Whitney Houston for many, many years. Then there will be a solo from Stevie Wonder, and Stevie Wonder will be singing "A Ribbon in the Sky." Then there will be remarks by Ricky Minor, the band leader. Then a medley from Alicia Keys. That will be followed by a solo by R. Kelly. He will be singing "I Look to You." And then I am told we will hear from Houston's family. First up will be Patricia Houston, Whitney Houston's sister-in-law, and then we will be hearing from Dionne Warwick. She will be giving the closing remarks. So a lot of emotional highs and lows that we'll be hearing about when this service gets underway. It's expected to last about 3 hours, and I'm told that Whitney Houston will finally be laid to rest tomorrow. Gary?
Jason, thank you very much. And there is a lot of movement right now around the New Hope Baptist Church. CNN's Don Lemon also joins us live right now with the latest from his vantage point. Don?
I just want to show you, people are starting to arrive here. This is the ground shot. Arrive in this parking lot, and then they walk in, and some of the more high-profile guests will get out on the other side of the church there, and they'll be led. And I want to bring in someone here, the Reverend DeForest Soares, who, and I think it's important, and people underestimate how well you knew the family, how much you know about this community, how well you knew Whitney Houston. You're very close to her family, and today is really a tough day for not only